complacency or approval. Still, we decided Charlie would not allow this to go on. Charlie was not a coward. Charlie was a fighter. Charlie would not allow someone to spread lies about the people closest to him with impunity. And he would feel ashamed if other people were stepping up to defend his friends while he never did so himself. Candace has mentioned several times that the ball is in our court. So here's what is going to happen. In the near future, there will be a live stream here in Phoenix where we address in a clear and comprehensive way the claims and accusations, the false accusations that have been made against Charlie's family, friends, and the people here at Turning Point. We plan to walk through everything carefully and thoroughly. If Candace is available, we would sincerely welcome her participation in that live stream at our studio here in Phoenix. At this point, we believe the ball is back in her court. Our motivation for doing this is not out of any obligation to Candace. It is about honoring Charlie. We feel a deep responsibility to protect his legacy, his work, and the truth. I feel that. I owe Charlie everything in my life. I feel it immensely. And that is why we feel compelled to speak clearly and openly now. We'll have more on this in the near future.
Yay! Finally, you didn't have to get through all that shade that you were throwing me to get to the point that you were willing to answer questions, okay? Because that's what Charlie did for a living. How could you guys think that you were just going to continue on and pretend like people asking meaningful questions was somehow an attack? That's what he did for a living. He stood up on college campuses and he debated people. And he sat there principally and debated people because he felt that he had the moral high ground, okay? And that if those people disagreed with him, he could bring them over to his side. You guys have been actually acting and embodying the opposite of Charlie Kirk's spirit. Okay. And you did it even in this. It was like one big character assassination. And it wasn't to me. That's what you guys don't understand. You're not attacking me. You are attacking millions of people around the world who watched a man, an innocent man, be publicly
Candace
executed.
Owens watch party.
And then watched what felt very much like the state collude to feed us
She's responding
absolute
to
horseshit
Turning Point
about what
USA.
took place on that day. Okay. 30-06
Candace
bullets
Owens.
do not get stopped by human necks because they eat healthy. They don't. And yes, you guys are a part of that apparatus of people who made us feel, and you've expressed it here, like you were too good to answer questions. We are already said, I got on stage and I told you that I'm Charlie's pastor. I told you I'm his best friend. I told you. You guys have even allowed people to inject themselves into his legacy that Charlie didn't even like. And we're supposed to believe you're doing this because you're his friend? Because you're committed to truth? You sat there and allowed the very people who pressured Charlie towards the end of his life to try to claim his whole legacy? And you're pretending we are the ones that are immoral? You're upset because you got caught lying. You're upset because you got caught with your pants down, but you cannot blame me for that, okay? These were your own errors. These were your own lies. And I was not going for a single second to let up on the pressure. In fact, I have been so strategic that I have been holding on to certain information, hoping that you would acquiesce to have a public conversation because I want to look you in the eye and I want to challenge you to lie to me because I care deeply about what happened to Charlie on that day. I don't think we're getting the truth. And I do believe that because you are not forthcoming about the information that you have, about Charlie texting you guys and saying that he thought he was going to be assassinated that very next day. Okay. The day that he died, Charlie knew, said he thinks he was going to be killed tomorrow. And you guys are sitting on that information. So I'm the right person. Yeah. I'm the right person to sit across from you and to ask you questions. All right. Some things that you told me on that day, they're not adding up. I think the entire world would like to see this discussion. Say
hello. Tell me where you're watching from.
You can do it in Charlie's honor. I'll sit there. You pick a place and time. We could have done this today, by the way. You didn't have to read all that. Okay. We all have tech. We could have done a live stream. We could schedule a live stream. We can raise money for Turning Point USA if you promise to answer every question that I have. Okay. And it's not hard. It's not difficult if you are telling.
Candace is responding to TPUSA And they're saying now that they want her to come to them and they want to answer the questions that she's been asking.
Telling the truth to answer questions. When you are emoting so much and you're upset at the inquiry and you're playing this game like you're David Hogg and I survived Parkland, so how dare you question my authority on anything? Not a good long-term strategy. It's not going to be effective long-term. And I think you're learning that lesson because 3 months on, with the entire mainstream media on your side and attacking me, which you guys didn't even stand up for me when you knew they were lying about me, you stayed mum. That in and of itself, you should be ashamed of. You should be ashamed to sit across from people who did everything they could to stop Charlie's rise, breaking bread with them and refusing to have a conversation with me, and you know that I cared about Charlie. Have you no shame? We're going to find out. You can pick the place. You can pick the time. I say we do it tomorrow. We don't need to plan for this. We don't need lawyers in between us, lawyer statements. It's not how I roll, okay?
Well, maybe they need more time to craft their talking points and their answers.
I don't care about any of that. I want it to be authentic. Like I said, you can take the money. We can raise money live for this conversation. That is how badly the world is demanding it. So I accept it with whistles and bells, everything I fully accept. I say, let's do it tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow. And my only ground rule is no assassinations. Okay? No assassinations, no funny business. You can't pretend you're going to do it. And then Candace died in a mysterious accident. Okay?
Yeah.
We'll be right back after a quick break. All right, you guys.
So I'm just going to mute this while she's doing her ads. So Candace has accepted the challenge from TPUSA to speak, which is good. And I feel like this is part of what the strategy is all along. She's pushing them, as well she should be, pushing them to come out of the woodwork and to show themselves and to talk. And excuse me, I think she has a lot more information that she's waiting, just like she has this entire time. She's been holding on to that information, waiting for them to come out of the woodwork and to show themselves so that she can catch them, right? So here we are. They have said they invited her to go live to their venue over in, what is it, Arizona. I don't know why it's necessary for her to do the interview on premise. I think she can do it remotely. I don't know that I trust that. I don't trust them to be able to keep Candace safe. They were unable to keep Charlie safe. So who knows what she would be walking into at that point. So there we have it. So she pretty much answered. We came in a little bit late, but she had something to say to everything that they had to say on their post today, on their video on the Charlie Kirk show, where they claimed that they wanted to answer all of the burning questions. So we'll see. We'll see if it even happens, and we'll see if they insist upon her going there in person. We don't need to do that in person. And like she said, let's do it. Let's do it now. Why do you need all this time? Do you need all this time to say the truth? I mean, we all know we don't need time to say the truth. All we need is opportunity. They've had all the time in the world. So what has kept them from coming out and saying more until now? Well, I think it's reached a fever pitch, which is Candace goading them to come out. Come on out, show yourself, and show yourself to the world. And to her, let's go. She's back.
I'm laughing at the live chat right now. They really think Turning Point's going to kill me. Like, don't go.
I know. Don't go in person.
I really, guys, I think that they would be
crazy.
They would kind of figure that they would be blamed for that. I think we're okay there. But let's start with the Pentagon, because this is interesting.
She has more faith than I do.
In case you don't know, is the complex that houses our Department of Defense. It's a massive complex, right? There is arguably no more relevant building to communicating to the American people about foreign threats. That's what they do, is quite literally the nerve center for the United States Armed Forces. It's headquarters for the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. And recently, because the American government wants the world to no longer take us seriously as a nation or something, they decided to undergo a quote unquote press corps makeover, ostensibly to let in new, independent, more trusted journalists. And some of them are, okay, James O'Keefe, obviously, formerly of Project Veritas, he's very much trusted. Matt Gaetz, I like him very much. But some of the people that they let in are almost the exact opposite of trustworthy and are just radically pro-Zionist. Like they will lie, steal, cheat, and figuratively murder, or I guess literally allow Israel to murder without asking any questions. And so that's why they're being let in. Most notably, obviously, Laura Loomer. She's totally nutty. And I don't say that in a way of like, this is an ad hominem attack. I mean, like she has psychotic issues. Allowing Laura Loomer into a national defense complex is actually sort of just an indication to just how committed they are to laundering the reputations of anyone, as long as they say, I support Israel. Because Laura Loomer is quite literally so deranged that she once handcuffed herself to the Twitter headquarters because they banned her account, okay? That's like, and she wore a yellow Star of David. When I met her, she was crying tears because they took away her check mark. She deeply, deeply cares about social media in a way that is just unhinged, okay? Now, she is apparently not allowed to own a gun because of various psychotic events that required her hospitalization, but due to her commitment to Zionism, which in a Zionist defense seems like a psychopathology is a prerequisite, the media is now trying to mainstream her and make us think that she's like a serious person. So our government, the Pentagon, decided to credential her at this time. She's a part of the new press corps that we can trust. Laura has probably been the one of the more prominent gaslighters when it comes to Charlie Kirk's assassination. She hated Charlie when he was alive and now wants everyone to honor him by not prodding the narrative surrounding his death. Literally a couple of weeks before he died, she called Charlie a charlatan, a political opportunist, that he wasn't pro-Trump, simply because he hosted Dave Smith, who is anti-Zionist, he is also Jewish, for a debate with Josh Hammer, who's a radical Zionist like herself, at one of his events. Charlie believed in free speech and he believed in debate, and so that was her reason for attacking him. Briefly showing you this tweet from her, not even worth reading in its entirety, but this is the tweet that she sent out. And then Charlie died a couple of weeks later, and she completely switched and now thinks that she's guarding his legacy. Anyways, she was beside herself with glee this morning, sharing news that another Zionist influencer named Cam Higbee, who has also now been credentialed by the Pentagon, decided to ask the perhaps billion-dollar question to the Pentagon's press secretary, a young woman named Kingsley Wilson, about the foreign angle of Charlie's assassination. Now, I obviously reported that the French Foreign Legion were apparently on the ground on the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination.
Oh,
so
I was on
here
mute
is
again.
Cam Higbee, who I guess is playing dress up as a reporter.
So they're bringing on the most unhinged people that they can find. Laura Loomer has had multiple breakdowns, mental breakdowns. I think we shouldn't have that there. Like the unhinged people are behind the scenes right now. We can tell they're unhinged from the things that they do and the operations that they put together. Here we go.
Asking the Pentagon's press secretary a question about the most viral story for about a week pertaining to France's participation in the biggest political assassination that has taken place since JFK, I would say. I think that's fair. Here's our new press corps, guys. Take a listen to, actually, first, let's focus in on Cam Higbee's question. The way he asks it is, I think, worthy of highlighting. Take a listen.
Absolutely. I'm Kingsley Wilson. I'm the press secretary here at the Pentagon. We're in the Pentagon briefing room, and it's been fantastic. Get to come to the Pentagon every day, and now you all do as well.
Yeah. So This is my first question, and don't laugh. Does the DOW have any evidence at all of a French military plot to assassinate Candace Owens?
Okay, here's my first question. Don't laugh. It's like two girls getting their nails done. Okay, let me ask. We're like a sleepover. Okay. I have something to tell you. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Is this supposed to make us think that this is not propaganda? Are we going, this is cool? Is this the new strategy? All the cool kids don't even ask the feds questions. All the cool kids just get in line and do whatever they say. All the cool kids just think it's beyond crazy to consider that the state would assassinate people, even though that's what we do. That's what the CIA does. We just murder people around the world. But that's crazy talk. And so they're going to make it, it's like too cool to even answer. Take it away, Kingsley.
That is an interesting question. Not that I'm aware of, but, you know, interesting question. I can try to find out and maybe let you know. I think that might be more of a law enforcement matter, though.
No, I think actually the Department of Defense, this would be a good matter for you guys to take up, of whether or not foreign governments are plotting assassinations of American citizens. Feels like this might be the right department to me, and I'm not laughing. So when I say to you guys,
it was staged,
when I stress
for
to you
sure.
guys that you should not be signing up for war, you should not be signing up for the military, you should not get involved in this obvious war that they are planning that's coming soon. This exact moment between these two people is what I'm referring to. It's like a rare glimpse into the elitist perspective of our government. Like, our job, I guess, is to work and to deposit money so that they can build themselves complexes like the Pentagon, which is a 6.5 million square foot residence office building, okay? It is the second largest office building in the world, 6.5 million square feet. And they built it with our money so that we could have some sort of an illusion of being protected by our government. Like, we could actually call them and say, hey, I have very specific information and accounts that you can trace, because the president France allegedly paid $1.5 million for my assassination. And by the way, I have evidence they had French Foreign Legion on the ground on the day that Charlie got assassinated. They're not going to respond to that, right? That's all supposed to be an illusion. When it comes down to it, getting that credible evidence after a televised event, essentially a televised event of a public execution, LOL. Get back to work, slaves. We're trying not to laugh at you questioning whether or not a 30-06 can be magically stopped by a human neck. How dare you ask any questions or speak to us about states coordinating assassinations? And are you guys still talking about the Epstein files? That's the attitude. They think this is good PR. Like, the Zionist accounts are sharing this and they're going, LOL. I don't know that the American government.
Is that how desperate they've become? Or are they that emboldened that and sure that Americans are so dumb and so blind that we can't see, that it's not obvious what's going on?
Has ever been more, I don't know if they've ever been more out of touch with the American people than to see this as they're like, send it around the press. Haha, the Pentagon is laughing at foreign assassination. They don't take anything seriously. Yeah, we just watched Trump get shot at and his ear clipped. We just watched another person try to assassinate Trump on the golf field. And then we watched Charlie Kirk die publicly. But LOL, I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you. That's not what we're here for. Get to work, slaves. Again, there is no left or right. It's just the elites.
Yeah.
It's the media apparatus that protects those elites, and then the rest of us who are supposed to be slaves, okay? The elites own everything. They own everyone. And if somebody actually breaks free, right? If they have an individual in the matrix who creates something that they cannot control or buy, then there are only a couple of options for that individual, okay? The state responds and they say, we will destroy you reputationally. We will call you crazy, go after your reputation, make up allegations against you. We will bankrupt you. We will imprison you, or we will kill you. That's the reality of the world that we live in, okay? We don't live in a meritocracy. It's not a free nation. They have to be able to control you. And the timing of me speaking about this is so perfect because this article appeared in Fortune yesterday. This is the headline. inside the economics of Candace Owens' media empire and the Macron lawsuit threatening to unravel it. They went with this, like they're proud of this, like a lawsuit can unravel. What they're calling an empire is actually just a mom from home who got fired and rejected from literally nations. They tried to destroy me last year. They took everything. They just tried to destroy my reputation, tried to break my friendships, and I survived, okay? And that angers them. And so this article is written with such elitism, the hope that the state will step in and just break it, just bankrupt it. This is an actual quotation. The lawsuit, it reads, the lawsuit is set to test whether the controversy as currency that made Owens rich and gave her a media brand that reaches tens of millions of people can survive what experts say will be an immensely costly legal battle.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're going to bankrupt Candace Owens.
Okay, so they just flat out said it. Okay, so I have a question too. Do y'all believe that somebody tried to shoot Donald Trump? Do you believe that? I'm just curious.
That is our intent. The experts are saying that we can do it because we can't control her. She wouldn't sell out, not to the military complex that we live in, not to big companies, not to corporations. She wouldn't turn the eye when Palestinians were being genocided by Israel. And we have no other options. We're running out of options here. So we've got to kill her or we've got to bankrupt her. And we're signaling that we're going to bankrupt her. That's how this thing works. For telling the truth, by the way. That's why I'm being sued. And they're not lying. Thus far, in the Brigitte Macron lawsuit, we have paid over $250,000 and we haven't even had our first day in court. Okay? That's the matrix.
Ooh.
That is the matrix. And I will, again, assert to these people, I will never bow the knee to evil. I will never bow bend the knee, rather, to people that harm children. You will never see me bend the knee to that, ever. Bankrupt me if that is what makes you feel good. Because at the end of the day, it feels like we are existing in a time where you are only catalyzing your own demise. Like people have never been more awake and more in tune. And the focus on Charlie Kirk's assassination proves that. You couldn't make that go away. Speaking of which, Charlie Kirk, whose death is exposing this matrix in ways that I do not even think that we can fully comprehend in this moment just yet. We asked the question and we can't find the answer as to where Brigitte Macron was on the dates that the Egyptian plane was flying around America. It's just like a 6-day gap in Brigitte's schedule. And now, of course, especially as we have learned about Delaware and the DuPont French connection and the French Foreign Legion non-answer that we're getting, just gaslighting that we are getting, it feels like an even more relevant and rational question to be asking, and somehow made even more interesting now that we know, or that we've learned, and thanks to the internet sleuths and the YouTubers that put this together, that an hour and a half before Charlie Kirk was assassinated in Utah, Donald Trump and Emmanuel Macron had a phone call.
Ooh.
That has been recorded in Emmanuel Macron's public calendar, which has been released. You can see that he had the phone call with Donald Trump at this would be 6:45.
She did. I want to know more. I started researching that and looking into that today about the DuPonts.
Obviously, PM in French time. That's 10:45 a.m. in Utah time. 10:45 a.m. Utah time is when they had this phone call. And look, that could be nothing. There's a lot going on in the world, obviously.
Yeah.
And we also know that there's been a lot of discussion about Ukraine, and there's a million reasons that Emmanuel Macron and him could have had that poorly timed phone call. But it would be great if a press member could not LOL and say what was the nature of the phone call, just so that we know, right? These are questions I think it's fair for us to ask with everything that's coming up and the lack of a true response that we're getting from anyone that has the means to answer these questions. Anyways, you guys, we're almost at overtime here, but in other assassination news, I wanted to mention to you that The Game, who is a hip hop rapper, is releasing an album, and he has a song on his track list in this upcoming album that's entitled The Assassination of Candace Owens.
Oh.
I'm having like the best year ever or something. I don't know. Why? Why The Game? Why is it got to be song number 13? What's going on? This better not be predictive programming. Okay.
Right.
We know how Hollywood gets down. Okay. We're reading your books. Anyways, he was asked this question, this exact question, why? And he gave an answer. And here's what the game had to say.
So you got this new mixtape dropping, and then there's this
Have you guys heard of him?
track called "The Assassination of Candace Owens."
Yeah.
Why that title?
Because recently I've been seeing like conspiracy theories and about Candace Owens from herself.
The game.
Self-admitted. She feels like people are conspiring her. And
Number
so what
13.
it was is more so an assassination of the character. So I just used that because it was like current news, but it's not. The song is not about Candace.
Oh, okay. So it's just a little bit deeper than okay.
Yeah, I'm a
But-
rapper. We use metaphors,
Okay,
Yeah.
but aren't you? I mean, are you worried about Candace coming for you about this? I mean,
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not worried about Candace. But then again, you got to hear the song.
Okay, so she'll understand if she hears the song, maybe.
I mean, the thing is,
Oh, should we play it?
we're trying to
I think
assassinate
YouTube
her. So
will
all I did was
say no.
say it too. You know what I'm saying? So again, the song is not about her, but Candace Owens, man, she real smart, really intelligent woman. But if she comes for me, I mean, it is what it is.
It is what
It is what it is. There's beef in these streets, okay? There's beef in these streets, and you better be scared because maybe I am coming for you, okay? I could be coming for you. I might drop a whole album. I might drop a whole mixtape too, okay? Anyways, I think it is a form of flattery. Obviously, I'm friends with Ye, and he makes music, and they do use a lot of metaphors, so I'm not offended by this. Do I love the timing? Could I get a break
Yeah.
for 6 months, maybe, and not have that title be there? Sure, but I'm totally okay with this. I think it's kind of cool. I actually kind of think it's cool. I hope the song lyrics are cool and it's not a diss track. And it's not gonna be like Eminem crying about me on a whole album, but I look forward to the song. I hope you feel free to use a little audio from the podcast. That would be cool.
That'd
You
be
can- You can
cool.
use a strip of me saying something. Everything is fake and gay.
Go,
would be
Max.
Super fly. Everything is fake and gay. Please put that in the song. That's my only request. All right, you guys.
I like that she can have a sense of humor. I mean, I feel like we need that in today's times all the time.
We'll get through a couple more sponsors and I will answer some of your comments. Okay, what if you could delay your next 2 more?
I'll mute that while
Right, imagine putting
she's doing her ads. But there were some questions that TPUSA didn't go over. They're like, why did Andrew Colvett warn Candace that she's on a list and her and Tucker Carlson should lay low right after the assassination? Let's see, what else was there? The drones. Why did the security guy lie about the drones? Why did they lie about taking out the memory card? So there's a few of them that they didn't even mention that I feel like they definitely should, if indeed this interview happens and she goes out to Arizona. Candace is often lighthearted and fun. TPUSA is not humorous. They are not funny. It's rough. Have you watched any? I've clicked in a couple times just to listen, and I'm like, this is so dull. This is so dull. There's no way they're going to be able to keep their audience if it continues that way. And I don't even know if they'll make it through this controversy. They said they weren't going to post as Charlie Kirk because that would be creepy, but they continue to post under his thing. I don't know. And would Erica Kirk, the CEO, be a part of that podcast or that stream? That would be amazing. I feel like we need to hear from her. There are questions about their financials. They keep saying it's natural for them to hire third party, their third-party financial groups, and from what Candace is saying and from what is it? I think it's Wolf in Finance. They have, made several videos. I'll attach links once this downloads, but here she is. She's back on. Let's listen.
Game's Muse. I'm his muse for this upcoming album. So
Amuse.
that is now a fact. And I had a lot of muses for my book, which is finally out, Make Him a Sandwich. You guys can get that on Amazon. People have been asking about international shipping. If you go to makehimasandwich.com, we are now
Did you guys
shipping
get
to
the book?
Canada. And
I
you
haven't.
can get those copies for 20% off if you buy it directly from the website as opposed to Amazon. So head to makehimasandwich.com, or you can head to Amazon if that is easier for you. And but signed copies can only be purchased on CandaceOwens.com. Also, we have some new merch. If you'd like to support the show and support actual, true, independent journalism, please do so. You can buy yourself a mug, buy yourself a hat, buy yourself a T-shirt.
He's good.
And we have some
And I think
new
he's
kit, which I
thorough.
think looks really good, actually. We're going to have to send something out to the game. Game going to recognize game. I think that's fair. Game going to recognize game.
I have a,
And you guys
I made
can
a
now also
graphic
gift
too.
someone
I'll send
a
you
membership to
guys,
Club Candace
let's
or the
see,
book
I'm trying to
club
think.
on our website.
I think I'll make a post on
Just
my
head to the
YouTube. I'll
About
just make a post
section
and
on the website and
if it'll
scroll
let me
down
attach
to
that
Want to
graphic,
gift a
I'll put that
membership.
graphic up there.
And if your answer is yes, you can do that now. All right, top
Make sure
comment
you're
from yesterday's
subscribed.
episode. Somebody writes, the worst part of being awake is realizing there are way more evil people on this planet than I ever thought possible. I actually don't think there's more. I think they have a tremendous amount of power. I think they have control over the military, and I think that power will wane if we stop subjecting ourselves to their systems, their financial systems, their peer pressure systems, Hollywood, the adoration that we had for stars, and we followed their trends. And if we actually studied where it all came from, which is incredibly evil indoctrination, quite literally doctrines of evil, which is guiding that movement. It's guiding that theology, rather. I spoke about it more at length with Russell Brandon on his show, so that should be coming out soon. But we have to become educated about where it stems from. There's less of them, but they have a lot of power and they have a lot of influence, and they have blackmailed people that are in powerful positions. There's definitively more of us. That's why they want to kill us. Obviously, that's why they want to drug us and keep us dumb, is because the numbers are not on their side. So we have to make sure it's not just the numbers, but also that the ideology is not on their side. The answer to people that want less families, not because they want you to be more efficient and to climb the corporate ladder. They just want less of you. There
Yeah.
needs to be less slaves if you want to maintain control, and you don't want the risk of a revolution to come down upon you. That's the true answer. Is that's why they promote all of these things. That's why they want people to have less children, is because they want to increase their numbers while decreasing ours. And so we need to be radical about not also giving our children to the system. If you can, and you absolutely can, homeschool your children,
Yeah.
pull them out of the system. Don't send your kids to college. Usury is another one of their tactics. Don't rack up debt. I made that mistake and learned nothing. It's just more time for them to indoctrinate your children. Be bold in changing the system. Be radical in your response of taking ownership over your own home. That's what I would say in response to that.
As far as the schooling, I have two thoughts about. Homeschool. I did it for a couple years, for a few years. College. I don't know. I feel like if you're close with your kids too, you can have that voice, and if they trust you, you can have that voice that works against the indoctrination. I believe they fully do want to indoctrinate. But I think it's super important to have an open and trusting relationship with your kids so that they want to listen and they can hear what you have to say, so that you can be another voice for them.
Goodness wins. Goodness wins. In truth, Christ has already won. More comments from today. Meryl writes, careful, Candace. They may be betting that you won't be available for a sit down the next few weeks. Also, watch your sources. Sometimes the feds plant sources with
Yeah.
almost good information in order to humiliate their target later. Yes, I'm very aware of that. And we are very cautious about our sources. And sometimes that has happened and we haven't gone, fortunately, we haven't made a public mistake, but we'll keep going. And then I'll be like, I think this is good. And then Mark will be like, I don't know about this. Or Skylar will be like, I don't know about this. And that is what takes us
Good.
so much time every day, is for a
That's
small
good to
team,
hear.
but we're constantly having to debate ourselves before we put something out. So thank you for that. Briley writes, they didn't answer any of your questions. They only brought up speculations that you made throughout the series. I hope you don't go there in person for your own safety. It is so sad that we have reached a time where you guys are legitimately concerned about my safety. And I get that. I feel like there is definitely something military that happened when Charlie got assassinated. And I think our lack of comfort comes from perhaps their refusal to acknowledge that. I think their response is what makes you guys feel fearful. But truly, I don't think Turning Point USA is so silly. and stupid that they would coordinate an assassination
Compliance,
on their
Cisco.
campus, and then think they're going to be like, that just happened. It was all weird. She ate a bad sandwich or something. But it is sad. It really is a marker of the times that we live in, that you guys truly feel this way. Angie Lynn writes, TPUSA will lie about everything, as they have been doing. Do not trust this for 1 second. You and your family's safety, money, everything is compromised. Team Candace, Christ is king. James Gray writes, the TPUSA response seemed fake, calculated, scared. That guy's body language was just completely off, and he was literally speaking from a script.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's speaking from a script, but I will say the thing that felt genuine was at the very end when he said, I owe everything to Charlie. That's when he went off script. And I don't know that they remember or know how to be authentic like that anymore. They're going to find out. Because I'm very authentic, and us having a face-to-face, I think it's the best way to answer this. Look, I came from Turning Point USA, so you guys know that me doing this, there's an element of heartache. You don't go into an organization and help
hurt.
to build it up because you one day hope that the founder of it is going to be assassinated so that you can destroy it, the very thing that you helped to build in a very big way. I contributed greatly to Turning Point USA's success, and they would never deny that. And so it's sad. It is really sad to see this sort of elitist direction that they're taking we thought you guys would be smarter than to listen to her. Oh, you guys are Antifa. What is that? It's such crap. James Gray writes, sorry, I already read that one. Tara writes, licensed psychotherapist here. This is obviously an attempt to psychologically manipulate, and a terrible one at that. I would gladly put my license on the line at this point to help in even the smallest of ways, holding you and your family in prayer, Candace. Keep up the prayers. Keep up the prayers. Brittany Watson writes, Candace, you are not just going max, you are going scorched earth. And after watching Monday's episode, when you said that you are not some basic BI, I was like, girl, take my money. Thank you for being the world's best crime fighting superhero. I always think back to this interview that Kanye gave before I knew who he was. And I always loved Kanye. I loved his music. I loved the code of his music, which is you have to believe in yourself because the whole world is going to tell you can't. And as soon as you step into the arena and you think you've won and you start having any modicum of success, the pressure actually only levels up. And people that you thought that you would be allies with, you find to be your enemies. Like, that's kind of the coded message of Kanye's music. But there's this interview that he gives where he says, somebody, I don't know what they asked him, but he responds and he says, if you're a fan of Kanye West, you're not a fan of Kanye West. You're actually a fan of yourself. You believe in yourself and you think that you can do something in this world. And I feel the same way. I think that the people who think that they're fans of mine, you're not fans of Candace. You believe in yourself. You believe that we can actually change things, and you believe.
I believe that. I think, a lot of people are calling us stupid if we're following Candace or listening to anything she says. But to me, what it says about us is that we still think there's hope and that our world is worth fighting for and standing up for against corruption, because it has penetrated us at every level at this point, and it's become so obvious. And I think that shows a tremendous amount of hope in our future.
That you should be able to fight for truth, and you're not going to be influenced by people that are taking money to make videos and say things. Like, there's that spark inside of you. It's kind of what I got when Kanye said that. It's not me, it's the spark that you see in me. It's the audacity to be yourself and to think your own thoughts and to keep going when the whole world tells you no.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel. Candace Go Max, I love that someone picked up that name as their username. Thanks for the honest investigations. The truth shall set us all free. Thanks for the USS Liberty episode as well. To this day, the best interview that we have ever given. You could feel a spiritual movement in this room when we interviewed Phil Turney of the USS Liberty. I'll never forget that interview. It
Have you guys seen that one?
It was a major turning point in my life. And thank you guys more. I mean, I'm so grateful to you guys. And I hope you know that I start all of my prayers with gratitude, because I started realizing that sometimes when you pray, you're asking for a lot. But if you start with gratitude of the things that you're thankful for, like, you come to God and you're like, I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful. By the time you get through all the things that you're grateful for, you're like, man, do I really want to lodge any complaints? It's a good way to pray. And I always say that I am grateful for the people around the world that believed in me and that continue to believe in me. And yeah, sometimes I make mistakes. I get time zones wrong, but at least you guys can see that my heart is in the right place, and I really do just genuinely want the answers. So I'm glad that we are at long last going to get them from Turning Point USA. It sounds like I said, I'll do this tomorrow. I don't have to be in person. We can live stream this.
Yeah.
I think the people trust me to represent all of the questions that
Why
we
wait?
have, and we can have the money go to Turning Point USA. Every dollar that's raised, I would gladly sacrifice that to the organization. That's how much it means
Oh,
to just be
wow.
able to get these questions answered. Anyways, you guys, we will see you tomorrow.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna come here now. What did you guys think? You know, people are calling her all kinds of names and calling her crazy and calling us stupid. And, you know, that doubt can really get in there and make you, and it's good to question. I feel like even if you believe in somebody and you believe in what they're saying, it's always good to have a part of your mind that still questions, because we always have to ask those questions, right? Even her team asks those questions. They don't just blindly believe everything she's going to say. We need those voices. You know, we need a little bit of questioning and doubt in our mind so that we can stay open to learning more and receiving new information and acting upon that. I hope she stays safe too. She talked about Kanye. I'm wondering what went on with him. Did you guys see that he went to who was it? To the Jewish priest, whatever you call them, and he apologized for all of the things he said and done against the Jewish community. It makes me wonder what's going on there. She hasn't mentioned it. I wonder if she knows. But anyway, that he did that was shocking. So I know that she's no dummy. She will continue to be wise in what she gives us. She's not just going to be careless. And, you know, her reputation is at stake too. She's well aware of that. And I don't know. I feel like usually when people come out and they're calling names and saying you're dumb and making these accusations, you know, it's really to deter us and really to, you know, they come out shouting big so you'll look in a different direction. They're afraid of the bear that Candace is, and that she's awakening a lot of other people. I think that's good, and I think that's something they're afraid of, and I feel like they should be afraid of it. They should, enough to start doing things different and turn it around. I don't know if they can at this point. Let's see. Several people have been forced to apologize to Israel in order to keep their careers. Yeah, and I have actually wondered, because I know he's going through this thing with Kim Kardashian and their children, you know, if there was any bit of that was forced because he wants to still have contact with his kids. Like, that was just a thought. I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of it or the background, but that was a thought for sure. So please, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, X, Threads. On X, it's TeresaBetterLife. There's no E in it because I didn't have enough character allowance there. But please subscribe and follow. I'm going to try to jump on a live so that we can do this together every time during this whole Charlie Kirk stuff. It's really hard to be engaged with her chat because it goes so quickly. There's so many thousands of people on here, and I think it's good that we are able to get on here and to be able to share thoughts and information, you know, and really show, I don't know, learn from each other, support each other in what we're doing, because there's a lot of people out there, you know, yelling against us. But anyways, I'm going to send a post with that graphic I was telling you about. Also, if you have a chance to go back and watch Candace's interview on the USS Liberty, it's really, really good. And there's also a really good documentary. I'll send that in with the post too, okay? So thank you guys for hopping on. I hope to see you more. And as I said yesterday, the more I do this, the more comfortable I'll get, the more the more I'll be able to do it and to bring other conversations together as well. Let's see, half of the chats on Canada's stream are bots. And yeah, and they're so mean. Like, people can get so mean and crazy. So on all of the social channels. So anyways, I appreciate your engagement here today. I really appreciate it a lot. It helps bring a nice energy that helps me as well. So you guys take care and look for me in my post that I'll send. Okay. Thanks so much. Good night.